Hi, students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I am broadcasting to you from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great start to their weekend, to Saturday. Today, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2, and as usual, the materials do come from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, aehelp.com. And for the general version of the test, check us out at gieltshelp.com. I'll show you those websites just super quick. This is our academic website. Click that red button to join with the blue background. And this is our general IELTS website with the green background. Click that red button to join there. Hi, members. Hi, Gurkarat. Hi, Amrit. Hi, Hong. Hi, Ferdavs and Begzad. Welcome to today's class and welcome, viewers. All right. If you have questions about our products or about the exam, send me an email, Adrian, Adrian, at aehelp.com. Hi, Preeti. And hello, Harminder. More members joining in. Today, speaking part 2, and then everyone chat class will be speaking part 3 in about 90 minutes. And that speaking part 3 will be connected to speaking part 2. So it's really good to watch both of these classes because they will be related to each other. All right, so this is the question for today. I had 2 requests for speaking part 2, so this one was the first one. The next one we'll do next week. I'm not sure which one was yours, Gurkarat, but this one came in first, this request, so this is the one that I scheduled for today. Again, for those members that don't have access to our materials, please do send me an email. Hi, Manisha. Good to see you in class as always. One of our successful students. I hope life is treating you well, Manisha. All right. So, speaking part 2, it's the cue card, also called the long part of the speaking exam. This is where basically you get a card with information on it. The information will be very similar in structure to this, and it will include about 4 questions to guide you. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers, put it together well, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. The instructor will, of course, tell you when your time begins. Now, remember, the instructor is human, so the 1 minute preparation time might not be exactly 1 minute. It should be pretty close. And the 2 minute speaking time is not always exactly 2 minutes. In most cases, it can be a little bit shorter. Okay? All right. So, what categories can part 2 be? So part 2 can be basically 4 or 5 different categories or groups of questions. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? So what are the possible category topics for part 2? And it's really important that students and viewers remember this and practice for each one so that you can answer any question that comes at you on the card. Okay, so Bagzad has 3 of them. Bagzad says it could be an object, it could be an event, it could be a person, or a place, which is number 4. And number 5, that's kind of a little bit maybe different, as Patricio said in the chat there, is an idea, right? So person, object, event, place, or an idea. So you have to focus on being able to talk about each one of these. What is this one? Talk about the perfect house for you to live. What is this one? Okay, the actual question was talk about your dream home, but this is kind of the same idea. So Amrit says this is kind of a place because it's a location. It's where you are. Yeah, it's a place. Begzad says it's also an object. Yeah, so that's why this one is a little bit interesting because it's kind of like a place and an object together. It's a bit of both. I would say it's more of a location than an object, but yeah, the house itself is somewhat of an object. So that's why it's kind of an interesting question. I'm not sure which member requested this one. It was talk about your dream home. And I just changed it a little bit to talk about the perfect house for you to live. So it's a bit of an object along with a location or a place. So you have to kind of keep both of these in mind when you're planning for this. And I can see that different students are answering differently. So some of you are saying it's a place, some of you are saying it's an object. And yeah, it's a bit of both. All right, so let's then imagine we just got this card. The instructor or the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Sorry, your part 1 is over. Now we will begin part 2. For part 2, here's a card with some questions on it. You will have 1 minute to prepare your answers. You may take notes in the 1 minute if you wish, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. Are you ready to begin? You should say, yes, I am. And then they'll say, okay, your 1 minute begins now for your preparation. All right, students, again, remember, this is a speaking class, so repeat what I say. Okay, speak, speak, speak. Don't be shy, even if people around you might think it's strange that you're talking to a computer screen or a phone screen. The goal here is for you to practice, so please speak and repeat nice and loudly, okay, as I am going through this. All right, so when we think about an object, what do we have to consider? So if we argue that, well, a house is an object, then what are some important points to consider? Begzad says its appearance. I think, Begzad, you're thinking about a location right now. Let's start with an object. So if we're talking about an object, we have to talk about its appearance, what it looks like, which makes sense when we're talking about the perfect house, of course. Okay. All right. Its function, yeah, absolutely. So you want to think about its function. Pretty good. Rahul says, who lives there? That's part of the function, Rahul. So if you think about function, the function of a home is to provide living for people. So who lives there? Begzad says its origin. Where did you get it from? Yeah, and that could, again, for a house, that could be important as well. So are you going to build it or are you simply going to buy it? Right? So its appearance, its function, its importance. Yeah, very good. And that's about it. Okay, importance also includes the value. Gurkharat idea is something different. Okay, it's not a story here. You're talking about your perfect home. You're describing it. You're not telling a story here. Okay, the size of it, Haung, is going to be included in the appearance. Okay, Haung and Gurkharat, be careful not to lose yourself in details when you're planning. Most importantly, think about these main parts of describing an object, and then you will be able to come up with the size, how many bedrooms, its color, so the different parts of its appearance, its function, you'll be able to come up with that. Who lives there? What can you do in it? Its origin, where did you get it from? Where is it? Importance, what do you like about it? What is its value to you? Okay, so as long as you have these 4 top-level categories to describe an object, you will think about those details, and it will be structured well. Okay, now what about a place? So if we're thinking about the home as a place, then what do we have to include? And I think that Amrit and Baghdad already said a couple. So location. So where is it? Appearance. What it looks like. Its history, right? Maybe your perfect home is a castle that has some history. It was used by kings and queens, right? So its history. What else? What else? Okay, what else should you think about? So if you're thinking about your dream house, house as an object, then you think about these points. If you think about it as a place, then you need to think about these points. There's one more. Yeah, Begzad, very good. Who goes there? Okay. Yeah, so who uses it? What happens there? Okay, those are the other elements that you have to think about. Okay. All right. So good. So now you have these important ideas. And again, when you practice at home, members, viewers, you should have these ideas memorized. So you should know that if you get a cue card that's about an object, you need to think about these 4 points. If you get a card that's about a place, you need to think about these points. If you talk about these points and you look at the questions on the card, you will get a very high band score. Okay, you will do really, really well. All right. Okay, so great. Now we want to think about some important words. Okay, so what would be some important points to write down on your note paper? And again, you don't just want to randomly write notes in the 1 minute. Because your speaking will be random. It will be less clear. And you will get a lower mark. So your notes should have structure. Okay. So what should you think about for your first point? So what would be logical? Clearly, you'd want to visualize. So you want to picture. You want to kind of see this, okay? So Gurkharat, you don't just want to jump around with ideas like gym, hospital, pool, because it's not going to come across structured. You should tell a clear response to part 2 so that it's easy to understand. What should you think about first? What would be logical here? Okay. All right, so Begzad, you choose a house, definitely. Okay, so you choose a home. Here it's going to be difficult to just simply choose a home. So you have to choose either a house or an apartment. So clearly you need to know that. And Amrit says maybe its location would be a good one to think about first. Yeah, so don't write down location. Just write down where. Okay. So even before Gurkharat, you choose a big bungalow-like hotel. Think about its location. And Gurkharat, you're on the right track. So you'd want to think about the style of the house. Okay. And you'd want to think about its size. Okay. Those would be good to consider. Now, you wouldn't write down style and size. You would just write down what it is. Okay, so give me some good answers for location. So where would you want your dream home? Where would be a good place? Okay, be specific. The more specific you are, the better you're going to do. Okay? So where's the location? If I want to be clear with the examiner, the location should be something measurable and visible. Okay, so Amrit says the outskirts of the city. The outskirts of the city, Amrit, is usually called a what? Hi, Firdavs. So Firdavs would go for the city center instead. So Firdavs, you would say downtown, okay? And Amrit would say suburbs, okay? The suburbs of where? Suburbs of what city? Just name a city. Yeah, so Begzod says in the center of the capital of my country, but Begzod, you want to actually name it. Don't be shy here. Amrit says Brampton. Let's go with Hampton in New York, upstate New York, one of the wealthiest parts of the entire world. Suburbs of Hampton, New York. Sure. Okay. What's the style of the house? Now, again, use words that you are familiar with. Gurkharat, the suburbs are the outside part of the city where you have bigger houses, more greenery, more lawns. Okay. Urban is the downtown. Suburbs is the outside. Okay. Amrit says it would be a castle. All right. All right. Sure. I would be careful, Amrit, to choose something that's difficult to describe. Same thing, Rihan. And Rihan, you're saying the same as Gurkharat is a bungalow. Bungalows and castles might be a little bit tricky to describe. I would keep it simpler, like what Bagzod's saying, a big house with 5 rooms. Okay. So I would go with a modern 1-floor house with 6 bedrooms. Okay? So that's what I would do. I wouldn't overshoot. I wouldn't say something like a castle. You might say, I mean, if you know the word, especially if you're in Hampton, actually that would be a very small house in this neighborhood, but let's make it a bit bigger. Let's go with 10 bedrooms. And instead of a house, does anybody know what a large house is called? When you have a large house, what is that called? Gurkharat, be careful. Your examiner might have no idea who Tendul Kardular is. I believe he's a famous cricket player, but I wouldn't bet that your examiner knows that as well. Yeah. So, Amrit, yeah, good. I think you have the right idea. You just spelt it wrong. It's a mansion. It's a mansion. Yeah. Even I spelt it wrong. Mansion with an S, I think. Yeah. It's a mansion. There you go. Gurkharat, very good. So, a modern 1-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms. All right. Now, think about all of the extras, right? What are extras called? So when a house has a lot of extras or a hotel, there's a special word for that. What is that word? What do we call those extras that a hotel has, like a pool, a bar, a games room? So what do we call that? What's the word? There's one really nice word in English for that. And if you're traveling a lot, then that will be good. It's not facilities. Facilities is not bad, Begzod. It's okay. You could use that. But there's a even better word. It's not perks. It starts with an A. That's right, Preeti. Very good. Amenities. Okay. So the extras, the amenities. So what would you have? Well, might as well throw a pool in there. Okay. Billiard room. Tennis court. Okay. So you can throw some fun things in there. Now, you're writing these notes, okay? You're paying attention. You have a gym in there, Hung, sure. What do I have to be careful about here, members? So again, remember, I only have 1 minute, and I'm sure in 1 minute, if I have training, if I'm practicing at home, I can definitely write these words. Sure, it's absolutely not difficult. I only have about 10, 15 words there. I'm thinking about all of these points here. I read the questions, of course, carefully. Where is this? What does it look like? What do you need to buy or build this home? Why do you think this is the perfect home for you? Okay, so what do I have to be careful about? Amrit says just move on to the next cue card. Yeah, Begzod says you have to be careful not to over-describe these points. In fact, Begzod, I believe you have the right idea. You're just maybe not expressing it perfectly clearly. I think what you're trying to say, Begzod, is we have to be careful not to have too many ideas and get lost in our ideas and in our descriptions. Okay? So, absolutely, you have to be very careful. Okay? And this happens to students all the time. I see it happen to students on the exam. So be very careful not to have too many ideas and not give clear explanations and examples. Okay, so if you want to get a high band score, students, if you want to get a score that's like 7.5 or more, you have to really make sure that you don't think of too many ideas and then just start listing them, right? So I'll give you an example. If a student says, well, my dream home is a big, big house somewhere in India. It would be like a huge bungalow with lots and lots of rooms. I would have a pool. I would have a billiard room. I would have tennis courts. All of my family would live there, so there would be lots of bedrooms as well. I could have barbecues and invite everybody over for dinner. And then I would definitely have a gym so I can work out. And also I would... So if you're doing this, you'll get an okay score, but not a great score, because you're just jumping from idea to idea without going into clear details, without making good connections among and between your ideas. It's much, much better to go slower, to think critically, to make those connections, and to go into actual details, right? So I would love to have a gym in my home. It would be at least a 50 square meter room, so I have lots of space to work out and do yoga. The reason I would include a gym in my perfect house is because I'm really into fitness, and these days I have to pay a monthly membership to go to a public gym. Okay, so going into that kind of detail is how you get that band 8, band 8.5, and 9. Okay? All right, so think about that. Details are more important. Explaining clearly, making connections are more important than having a whole bunch of small ideas. Okay? All right, so let's stay with these points. So location in the suburbs of Hampton, a modern one-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms, amenities, pool, billiard room, tennis court, gym. That's lots, more than enough. When you're doing or when you're writing your notes, make sure to take a look at the card. So where is this house? Do I have that in my notes? Yes. What does it look like? Mostly. I didn't write anything about color or decoration. What do I need to buy or build this home? Definitely haven't answered that. So what do I need to buy or build this home? You should maybe quickly write down 1 or 2 notes just so you don't forget about that. For Dobbs, money is okay. You want to be more specific. And for Dobbs, one way to kind of push your band score higher is always think quantitatively whenever you can. So think about numbers. Gurkharat, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Just send me an email and we can clear it up. Amrit says, I need a down payment. Sure. Again, money. Amrit, down payment is a nicer word than money. I mean, hopefully you can just buy it. Okay, Rehan, good. So Rehan's like, why don't we just throw a number out there? I would estimate this would cost me like $26 million in the Hamptons. Yeah, it's quite possible. Sure. So $26 million. Why not? What else? Okay, so money. Yeah, so Patricio says, I need a good architect like Norman Foster and millions of dollars. Yeah, an architect. Yeah, exactly. Good job, Patricio. So that's what I'm showing you with this is you need to think beyond what just you immediately come up with. So money, of course, everybody will think about money. You need money to buy a house, no question. But you need more than just money. So if you have $20 million, that's not enough to have your perfect house. You have to take some extra steps. You at least have to hire an architect who will design your home, right? So you need an architect. You need some builders, right? You can leave that up to the architect, but sure, you need a construction crew. Okay, so you need the builders. What else? You need something more. I don't see it anywhere. And believe me, even if you have $20 million, you might not be able to buy a house in upstate New York. Why not? What else do you need or to build or to buy a house? Okay, so you need lots of builders. You need a big building crew. You need some interior designers, sure, or interior decorators, Preeti. That's very good as well. So now you're thinking. Sure, okay. So again, build up that speed of thought, right? So you can really give some powerful answers to these questions. What else do you need? Yeah, Patricio says you need, yeah, Gurkharat, very good. So Gurkharat and Patricio both came up with it. Well, Amrit, you're right, you might need permission as well, but you need a lot. You need property, right? You need the property. You need the lot for the house, okay? All right, good. So now you're thinking, all right, in a perfect world, members, in that 1 minute, you can come up with these ideas. So in the 1 minute preparation time, if you're pushing for that band 7, 8, 9, and you practice at home, this is what should happen. You look at the card says, talk about the perfect house for you to live. Where is this house? What it looks like? What do you need to buy or build this home? Okay, this is an object. I have to talk about its appearance, its function, its importance, its origin. It's also a location, so I have to, or a place, so I have to talk about its location, where it's located, who uses it, its history. Okay, so start writing on the paper. Where do I want my home to be? In upstate New York, in the Hamptons. What is it going to be? It's going to be a 10-bedroom mansion with amenities including a pool, a billiard room, a gym, tennis courts. All right, what do I need to buy this home? $10 million, a lot, an incredible architect, and a large crew. Now you're almost ready. You have one more sentence to go. What is it? So what should you do? Before the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, you need to do one more important step. Patricio says, get that first sentence on the paper. Absolutely. Okay. So, what is your first sentence? What should be your first sentence if we're looking at this? Right away, get right into it. Hone, great. Begzod, great. Amrit, perfect. I love how all of you are remembering this important fact that your first sentence should be ready. Gurkarat, I'm happy you're a new member because you're learning all of the things not to do. Gurkarat, can you also please write in lowercase like the other members? Otherwise, it's shouting. If you're writing all in uppercase like that, it means that you're shouting at me. And I'd prefer if students are not shouting at me. So just lowercase sentences, please. And Gurkarat, it's not I would like to talk about, just start talking about it. Okay, don't waste time. So just start talking about it. Okay. All right, so what would be a good first sentence? Gurkarat, the reason why stating I would like to talk about is not good because a lot of students do that and it has zero value. It just simply has no benefit for the examiner. You will not get any points for saying I would like to talk about. Or if you say thank you for this opportunity to talk about my perfect home, you do not get any points for that. The examiners know that a lot of students trying to say that because it wastes time and uses words, but it has zero value. Okay. Hi, Caddy. Welcome. Bagzat says, the best place that I want to live with my two siblings and parents is a house which is located in the suburbs of Hampton, New York. Sure, Bagzad, perfect. So that's how you start your path in part 2 to a band 7.58 response. No question. Okay. Haung says, my dream house is a modern one-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms located in the suburbs of Hampton, New York. Brilliant. Haung, that's how you start a band 9 response. Okay. So Haung says, my dream house, let me take bold off here. My dream house is a modern one-bedroom, one floor. Just copying out Haung's response here. Is a modern one-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms located in the suburbs of Hampton, New York. Yeah, so that's a band 9 start. Absolutely. That's a band 9 start. Haung, fantastic. Haung, you're really improving. Of course, I keep in mind what students say more or less or chat in previous classes. And Haung, I'd just like to say that I can tell that you're really practicing a lot of English, and I can definitely see your improvement in your chat responses. That's fantastic. And also you're picking up the right ideas. Okay? So good for you. Okay. Gurkarat, that's much better. Okay, so Gurkarat says, the ideal house that I want to buy is on Palm Island of Dubai. And sure, Gurkarat, okay, you're going with your own idea, but that's a much, much better sentence to start with, okay? Preeti says, I would love to live with my family in an ideal house, which is located in the suburbs of Hampton, New York. Preeti, boom, there you go. That's how you start a Band 8, Band 9 response. Patricio, since I was a child, I always had a dream about having a big mansion located in the center of Buenos Aires. Patricio, very nice, okay? You're using a complex sentence with since I was a child, comma, I always had a dream about having a big mansion located in the center of Buenos Aires. That's how you start a Band 8, Band 9 response, Patricio. Perfect, okay? Gurkarat, never use the word things in your speaking or writing. It's low value or zero value. Always choose a better word. Ferdov says, one of the best cities where I want to build and live with my family is in Hampton, New York. Yep, Ferdovs, that works. Just be careful that you're not, it seems like you're talking about a city and not your house yet. So you have to quickly make sure that you switch into talking about your house, right? Okay. All right, so I see some great responses coming now. So very good, much better. And Gurkarat, much, much better sentences now. Gurkarat, instead of things, things is what's called a noun replacement. Okay, now I'll make a note here for everybody. Okay, always just choose the actual noun. So the word things is a noun replacement. It means that it can replace any noun. The more accurate your nouns, the better you're speaking, the better you're writing. Okay? So, Gurkrat, in your sentence, the foremost thing is, it is totally. So, instead of the foremost thing is, the foremost importance is. So, the word importance is much better than the word things. You could say the foremost importance in the house is for it to have 10 bedrooms or whatever you want to say after. Okay? That will be much better. All right. I love how all of you are really rolling with this now, and you're writing lots of great pieces of information. Bagzot says the size of this house is 1-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms with walls painted in white color and decorated with all modern household tools. Okay, Bagzot, let's slow it down a little bit. Think about it. Visualize, students. Use your notes. How big is your house? Give me an answer for that. So let's go back to our response now. So my dream house is a modern 1-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms located in the suburbs of Hampton, New York. Okay. I would probably need about $20 million to build it, as well as an architect to design it, and a construction crew to put it all together. Of course, before I could do all this, I would need to find an appropriate lot to build on. Sure. Okay. Bagzod, there we go. Yeah, now it's clicking, right? Square meters. All right. 100 square meters for a 10-bedroom house, Bagzod, is quite small. It's, in fact, insanely small. That would be like a 10-bedroom house for rabbits or chipmunks. Okay, so it'd have to be a heck of a lot bigger than that. I mean, a heck of a lot bigger. Okay, so how big do you think it would have to be? So how big? What would be a good estimate? No, I'm reading not yards. It would still be square meters. So Bagzod's right with the square meters. Yeah, Bagzod, I would shoot for something like 500 square meters. Yeah. Now, Gurkrat, you can't do something that's too crazy. So you have to be careful, students. In the IELTS exam, when you're speaking or when you're writing, you don't have to say the truth, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be believable. Otherwise, the examiner will think that you don't know the words that you're using. Okay? So I definitely would not go over anything that's like 5,000 square meters. 5,000 square meters is huge, okay? But it's still believable if you've got a ton of money and an indoor swimming pool and so on, right? So anyway, to be more on the realistic side, I would say 500 to 1,000 square meters is not unrealistic for a very large mansion, okay? So okay. So the house would be roughly 600 square meters in area. It would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for friends and family. And I don't want to finish this sentence here. I want to keep going. What should I write or what should I say here? Okay. So I'm going to, we all have different and unique ideas when we're talking about a house. So I want you to work on your language right now. Let's develop a little bit of language. Not square feet, Preeti, but square meters. 600 square meters is quite a large space. It's quite a large space, okay? Square feet would be small, but 600 square meters is quite a large space. And you could go more, Preeti. You could go 1,000, but trust me, it's big. I know. I live in a 100 square meter home, so I know. All right, so how should we continue here? Okay, so the house would be roughly 600 square meters in area. It would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for friends and family. How should I finish this sentence? What can come here to give me a higher band score, to show more complexity? Yeah, so Preeti, yeah, so 2,000 square feet is roughly like 130 square meters, something like that. So careful, Preeti, with the measures that you're using. Here in Europe, in most places, other than England, we'll use meters, not feet. Okay? US and Canada, we use feet as well, so I know it's a little bit confusing. All right, so how should I finish this sentence? It would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for friends and family. When? There's more than one way to finish this sentence. Just try to finish it for me with correct grammar. So think about your conjunctions. Here it's cause and effect, okay, or condition. Actually, I should say condition. It would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for my friends and family. And then this part is the condition. So think about the condition here. Okay, I want to get all of us on the same page. So here, okay, let me put the joining word in. It might help you. In case they... Now you'll figure out how I want you to finish this sentence. So again, use your complex sentences, students. To get those high band scores, you have to show complex sentence structure. Okay? In case they do what? Friends and family, in case... Yeah, Gurkrat, it's like saying if. Yep. Just a little bit more natural in this context. Okay, so that's how I would finish it. It would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for friends and family in case they come to visit. Okay. Not live in the house, but they come to visit me. That's right, Patricio. Absolutely. Now, here, again, to get high band scores, I would go into more details. Okay? So I would say, for example, I'm a very social person, and I love to host parties for people I care about. Okay? So this gives further detail and explanation to this sentence. So it would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for friends and family in case they come to visit. I'm a very social person and I love to host parties for people I care about. What should I continue with here? So here I'm like, okay, maybe I should look at my notes Here are my notes. Okay, I've used some of them. Oh, sorry. Here are my notes. I've used some of them. Now I want to use more of my notes. What should I do? What can I use from my notes at this point to make my response interesting, complex? Yeah, that's right, Bagzod. This is where I would jump into the extras. Yeah, that's right, Amrit. You're saying the same. So go for number 3. Because I've just finished explaining that extra rooms for friends and family when they come to visit. I'm a social person. I love to host parties. So write the sentence that makes sense. Okay, join it. Which joining word? Which word could be good to start my next sentence here in my speech? Yeah, that's right, Preeti. The amenities would be a great way to continue here. I wouldn't go with in addition here, Hung. I would use the other word that's very close. It would be a stronger connection than in addition. In addition is like plus, but the word I'm thinking of isn't just a plus, it's like joining to. So what's the word that's better than in addition? Not moreover, not furthermore. It's a leading expression that shows cause and effect. So because I'm a social person, because I like to throw parties, this happens. I wouldn't use furthermore. I wouldn't use additionally. I wouldn't use as a result is not bad, Bagzod. I would just go with the more technical, therefore. Okay. So therefore, consequently, Gurkharad is not bad. Okay. Therefore is probably the best one here. It would be what most native speakers would continue with. Okay. So I'm a very social person and I love to host parties for people I care about. Therefore, my perfect residence would also include some amenities to entertain my guests, such as a 30-meter indoor pool, a games room with billiard tables and arcade games, as well as outdoor tennis courts. Okay, so just like that, again, finding those connections. Gurkharad, hence, would be a good word to join as well. Absolutely. As you may realize, I'm an active person. So my home would definitely include a full-sized workout gym with both free weights and weight machines and workout machines. Okay, and again, more details. So I would surely use it each morning after waking up. All right, so I'm doing good and I'm moving along. I'm definitely speaking for a good minute, maybe even more. What should I do at this point? Yeah, so Amrit, if you love music, you might include a sound studio where you can jam and record your music. Again, Amrit, remember that if you're going to include that, if you're going to talk about a studio where you can jam, or a garage where you're going to have all your sports cars, to include details. So don't just jump around. Patricio says, at this point, definitely look at the card, Make sure that you're not missing any important points. So we take a look at the card. Where is this house? What does it look like? What it looks like? What do you need to buy it? Okay, that's good. Why do you think this is the perfect home for you? Fantastic. Okay, so we realized, all right, we've kind of talked about it indirectly, but it's very, very important for those good band scores to talk directly about these questions. So even though we mentioned that I'm a very social person, so I like to have parties, I still didn't say that it's the perfect home for me because. So you need to include that in your answer, okay? And yes, Patricia, you're right. You need to look at the card and you need to answer directly, okay? So I'll make a point for that for you. So to get high band scores, make sure to directly, not just indirectly, answer the questions on the card. Okay, it's really important. So that's what you need to do here, all right? So here I would say not only is this the ultimate home for me because it suits my outgoing personality, but also because it is located in one of the most beautiful and wealthy neighborhoods in the world. Okay, so now the examiner knows that you've answered the last question and you're finished speaking. Okay, so repeat after me, members. Here we go. Let's go from the top. Let's go through this. It looks like we've answered all of the questions. This is a Band 9 response. We have a lot of connections here. We have good quantitative information. We have lots of details. We're joining our ideas. It's very visible. We're focusing on the right topic and the right controlling idea. For all of these reasons, as long as you're nice and fluent, don't worry too much about pronunciation. If I can understand you, that's no problem. Then you will get that Band 8, Band 9, no problem. Here we go. Repeat after me. Viewers, students, just repeat. Nice and smooth. Here we go. My dream house is a modern one-floor mansion with 10 bedrooms located in the suburbs of Hampton, New York. I would probably need about $20 million to build it, as well as an architect to design it, and a construction crew to put it all together. Of course, before I could do all of this, I would need to find an appropriate lot to build on. The house would be roughly 600 square meters in area. It would have a room for each of my siblings and some extra guest rooms for friends and family in case they come to visit. I'm a very social person, and I love to host parties for people I care about. Therefore, my perfect residence would also include some amenities to entertain my guests, such as a 30-meter indoor pool, a games room with billiard tables and arcade games, as well as outdoor tennis courts. As you may realize, I'm an active person, so my home would definitely have a full-size workout gym with both free weights and machines. I would surely use it each morning after waking up. Not only is this the ultimate home for me because it suits my outgoing personality, but also because it is located in one of the most beautiful and wealthy neighborhoods in the world. All right, say that whether you say it in 80 seconds or in 2 minutes, guarantee you will get a very, very good band score. Okay. Bagzod says, the primary reason I believe this residence is perfect for me is that I can not only live with my wife and children there, but also accommodate the people closest to me. Okay. All right. Amrit says that was 1 minute, 25 seconds. Thank you for timing it, Amrit. And also, Amrit, don't forget that in the real IELTS exam, I probably wouldn't be that fluent. Even if it were actually me, I probably wouldn't be that fluent because I would probably take about an extra 10, 15 seconds, Amrit, to look at my notes and look at the cue card to find my position. So it would be a little bit more. No, Amrit, you would not be terrible. You would do fine, okay? Stay confident. You'll be fine. Just keep practicing. All right, students, that's it for this class. In 30 minutes, in half an hour, we will do part 3. So the questions connected to this part 2 card. I'm not sure which member it was that sent this question, the talk about your dream home, but thank you for submitting the question, okay? In 30 minutes, we'll do the rest of it, part 3. So all of our viewers, stay tuned or come back in 30 minutes, okay? And again, to watch lots and lots of great lessons and high-definition videos, sample interviews for the IELTS speaking, as well as 6 original exams and tons of materials. Spend a couple dollars, save yourself a lot of money so you don't have to sit the exam 2-3 times. Practice with us on our websites in our premium courses at GIELTS Help for the general IELTS. It's this green background with that big red button. And for the academic, it's this blue background here with that red button at aehelp.com. So check us out there. You're very welcome, Hung. You're very welcome, Preeti. Thank you for the feedback. See you all soon for the next lesson. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.